Welcome to day 12 of our countdown to Christmas at awellpurposewoman.com. Today we're going to be making watercolor Christmas cards. And if you don't have any cards that you wanted to use to paint on, you can just make your own by taking watercolor paper and cut it down to size. I made mine 8.5 by 5.5 inches, and that will just fit into an A2 size envelope. But you can definitely purchase cards that are already made. I'll link in the description below to some that you could use. So the first card we're going to be making is called a winter frame. So I'm just taking a piece of painter's tape that's 2 inches wide, and I'm just going to tape that across the center of my greeting card. And I'm doing it a little bit off to each side so that it holds the card down. And then I'm just going to take a pencil and I'm just going to draw from the center little lines, which are going to be kind of the branches of my evergreens. And then on the sides of each of the top and the bottom, I'm going to add a little kind of a floral green. So it's going to be a little different than my lines. I'm going to add maybe a couple leaves on there. And I want it to be pretty full because I want the card to be pretty full on the top and the bottom. Now I'm using a size 2 brush, and this could actually even be done with pens. Like you could even draw the evergreens with a pen, but I'm just going to use a size 2 brush. I'm going to put brown wherever I have drawn my pencil lines, and those are going to be, like I mentioned, the branches that my evergreens are going to come out of. And so I'm going to switch my brush here to a size 5, and I'm just going to get a mixture of greens started. So I really didn't have any rhyme or reason for the colors I chose. I just took an assortment of greens. Some were darker like an evergreen, and then some were a little bit more muted. But you can use really any color greens that you like, that you want your card to have a certain feel. You could use more muted colors. You can use deeper greens, whatever you want. And we're just going to go along those branches, and we're just going to add in, first of all, the floral greens. So I'm just going to add in those 4 different, actually I think I just did 3 of the branches with leaves on them. So really just to the side of the branch, just use your brush as a leaf, and you really don't even have to do anything other than just use the brush to go up and down. And then on these little evergreens, I'm just going to take the size 2 brush again and make very thin, just little lines out from the center branch. Just go, back and forth in the same direction with your brush. And again, really, you can just have fun with it. I really didn't have too much of a plan with these. I just kind of put greens wherever there was the pencil line, and then you'll eventually kind of fill up these spaces with the evergreens. And if you are going to layer, different evergreens, just wait in between the layers for the greens to dry. But I'm just going to fill in the rest of these little twigs with little dashes of green to each of the sides. And that's really how simple it is to make an evergreen branch. It's one of the reasons I love doing watercolor or any type of paint for Christmas, because I think you can really quickly have a really pretty design just by using dashes to the left and right of the branches. So I'm just going to finish doing this here, and then we're going to move on to our next card. So now we have a pretty full top and bottom of our winter frame. So I'm just going to set this aside for now and just let it dry, and then we're going to move on to our next card. Our next card is going to be a watercolor Christmas tree, and really there are a million ways you can make a watercolor Christmas tree. So we're just going to start by drawing a line down the center of our card, and that's going to be our Christmas tree trunk. So just make sure that that's kind of in the center of your card. And then we're going to be adding just a couple different shades of green in with our mix here that we already have. And I'm just going to take my brush and kind of just dab it along the card in the shape of a tree. And you just make like a triangle type shape at this point. It doesn't have to be perfect or anything special. You might actually like it to be a little bit more impressionistic, so you could leave it at a certain point, but I'll fill it in all the way so you can see that as well. And once I have my base of my tree, I'm just going to take a little bit of brown and add a little green, and I'm just going to add a trunk to my tree. You can drag it a little bit down at the base so that it looks like it's going into the snow. However you want to do it, but this is how I kind of did it. I dabbed off some of my water on my trunk. It was a little thicker than what I have liked, but it'll work for now. And then you can just fill in some of those spots on the tree with a darker green color just to add some different shadows and highlights into my tree. And then I'm just going to shape it a little bit better, a little more pointed on the bottom, the base of the tree. But you can see just how easy it is to come up with these cute little Christmas trees. Okay, so the next card we're going to be making is a Christmas ornament card. So we're going to sketch a little bit of an evergreen on the right hand side of our greeting card. And then we're going to use some washi tape and we're going to trace around it for our ornament, which is going to be towards the bottom of our card. And then I'm just going to take my pencil and I'm just going to erase some of the pencil marks. Once you put paint over the pencil mark, it's pretty much permanent or it will be harder to erase. So we're just going to make a really light pencil marks. And so I'm going to take this bright red and I'm going to use a larger brush. So I actually have a size 11 brush and I'm just going to turn it around on all sides and I'm going to create this lovely red ornament. And you can kind of do a perfect circle if you can turn your brush just so. And then you can touch it up with the littler brush and just get all those edges so that they're even. And then we're just going to take the brown and just like before with our other card, we're going to outline our branches on our evergreen. And once we have a little branch, then we're just going to take I'm sorry, I'm still using the size 2 brush for the branches. I'm going to take some of the greens and I'm just going to fill in along my branches, just going off to the left and right of each side in the same direction. And you get a very nice little evergreen and it's so easy. You can see I'm just taking the brush, going back and forth on one side and then going back to the other side. And it's nice to just do an under layer with your brush, let it dry, and then kind of fill in some of those branches if you want it to be thicker. But you could leave these branches pretty sparse as well, and that would be a cute little greeting card too. And I'm just going to continue to fill in these greens on my branches, and then we will add a little ornament cap on the top of our ornament. I'm going to use a size 6 brush for my ornament cap. I'm just going to take this goldish yellow color since a lot of those little ornament caps are gold, and I'm just going to put a little square on the top of my ornament, and then I'm going to take a little bit of the gold and mix it with some brown and just do a little string going from my ornament cap to the branch. Now I wanted to show you how you can add highlights on your ornament while your paint is still somewhat wet. We're going to take the size 2 brush, we're just going to dab water on it and then take a paper towel. In the area where I'm brushing in the water, I can actually take up some of the paint with a paper towel, so just dab it on there and you can get highlights in your ornament as well. The last card we're going to be making today is a watercolor wreath. I'm going to take my painter's tape and just sketch a circle around it in the center of my card. And then I'm just going to take my green paint, and you can use whatever flavor of green you're wanting. I'm using the same colors as my other cards just so it's somewhat of a set. And then we're just going to outline the circle with little lines to the left and to the right going upward. And you can choose whether or not you want to go all the way around your wreath or if you want to stop kind of halfway up and leave part of the wreath as like a hoop, and you could just use some gold and fill in the other side of the wreath. You could just leave it like that. Or you can take the green paint and go all the way around the circle. So that actually looks pretty cute with just halfway or partial greens. But I think just for the sake of showing you, I'm going to go all the way around my circle with green. And you can change up the greens as you go and kind of do like an ombre effect if you want to add a little bit more green. As you go, you can really play with it and just have fun. So I'm going to add a little bit more of this muted green for this side and just continue to do, you know, left and right, upwards direction all the way around. You're gonna want to let your cards dry at this point. We're gonna do a couple finishing touches. You can use a hair dryer, just don't put it too close, otherwise you'll move the water around maybe more than you're hoping. So we're going to start by taking a size 2 brush, and we're just gonna take some of the bright red paint and we're gonna add berries to our wreath. So I'm just going to dab just the point of my size 2 all the way around my wreath to get some red berries on there. And you can do them slightly different size, or you can try to keep them all just the same size, just to add some color to our wreath. And then we're going to do the same thing with our winter frame. So I'm just going to add berries kind of at the base of my evergreens where I have those floral greens. I'm just going to do 4 pots of little red berries, and that adds just a little dimension to that frame, which is really cute. And then I'm going to also put some on my Christmas tree just to add red there as well. And then I'm going to let those dry, and then I'm going to come back to my ornament, and I'm actually going to use a fine tip point pen, and I'm just going to trace around the circle of the ornament. And I'm just going to add some pen lines into my evergreen branches as well. This is a fun but optional step. You wouldn't have to add any pen lines. I think it's kind of cute, and I like the black in with the colors, but some people probably would like it better just the watercolor. So you do what you think looks best. I like the pen lines in here, and that card is pretty much ready to go. I'm going to add little dots all around the background of my Christmas tree. You could also use your paintbrush and just speckle on some black paint. That would be cute as well. And then I'm just going to add some highlights with the pen around the wreath as well. So I'm just going to circle the wreath shape and then just use some pen marks going back and forth to the left and right upwards like I did with the greens. And that is pretty much it for that card as well. And now we're going to take our winter frame and remove our painter's tape now that we have all the floral greens up and down. And you can see how pretty that looks. So it's perfect place to add a little sticker that says Merry Christmas, or to use calligraphy or pen and just write it in, whatever you want to use it for. And since flocked Christmas trees are so popular, I'm going to show you how you can flock your tree with the white gouache. So I'm just going to take it on my finger actually and just dab it all around the tree. And that just gives it a little bit of that flock look. It's super cute. I think I'll actually add it a little bit to the evergreens with my ornament as well. But just dab it on with your finger and you get kind of like another dimension to your tree as well. But that's really it. You can see how quick and easy it is to make these beautiful watercolor Christmas cards. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll join us for the rest of our countdown to Christmas at awellpurposewoman.com. And I hope you'll stick around by hitting that red subscribe button down below. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this and have a great day.